Today is the 8th of January. It's raining. It's 52 degrees. It's quite pleasant. I'm sure it's going to freeze soon enough and get back to January instead of this false spring. The stuff that's going on in Minnesota. What a tragic thing. And I felt I had to make this. Let's put it this way. I'll start from this. The vehicle I'm sitting in right now had passed expired plates for 2 years up until recently because I needed some emission work and I couldn't get the plates renewed until I had it. And I didn't have the money. I was driving around for 2 years with expired license plates. I got pulled over a lot. And I never got a ticket. Why is that? Well, I was always pleasant with the officers. I would explain to them. They would ask me, do you know why I'm pulling you over? I said, yes, I got expired plates. This is why. And they say, oh. We chit-chat a little bit. They check my license and insurance, and they just say, hey, try to get this taken care of. I cannot tell you how many times that happened in the past 2 years. And about a month ago, I bought another vehicle about 6 weeks ago, and I was driving it in another state with no plates. I didn't transfer the title. I had insurance, and I had to take it. I had no choice. I got pulled over in this little town in the middle of nowhere in another state, and I was like, oh, jeez. I thought I'm going to get hit here. And I could tell the cop was really, he approached me by the side window, which is really unusual. I never had that happen before. And I had the title, I had the bill of sale, I had my driver's license and proof of insurance in hand. I said, look, I know I don't have plates. I said, I'm bringing some expensive medical equipment to somebody who needs it for an emergency. I had no choice but to take this vehicle. I didn't have a choice. He let me go. He looked at all the paperwork, and he was very pleasant. He says, man, you're not supposed to be driving a car like that. We give people grace if they're bringing it home from somewhere. You're okay. I said, yeah, I know you're insured and everything, but man, you got to get this taken care of. I said, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. I haven't taken care of it yet. Car's still in my driveway. Point is, he let me off. Now, why did he leave me off? I'm going to tell you why he left me off. Because I'm not a fool. I don't mess around with law enforcement. See, I don't want to deal with, the ticket is one thing. But even if you don't get a ticket, and all right, let's say they give you a ticket, and you go to court, you show that you made all the repairs and all that, and they let you off without paying anything, and that's fine. I still had to get up. I still had to go. I still had to take my time. I had to go through the metal detectors. I got to get frisked. I got to go through all the bullshit to deal with that ticket. I don't want to deal with that stuff. So I'm supposed to play within the rules of the law, right? And if I'm knowingly breaking those rules, I take that risk. Every time I got in a vehicle, I took the risk. And I was hoping, I could probably talk my way out of this if I don't act like a fool. And guess what? I always did. Now, maybe my age has something to do with it. They run the plates or whatever before they pull you over. They figure out, that you're an older guy or whatever. Maybe it would be different if I was a teenager. But this woman in Minneapolis is a 37-year-old woman. This 37-year-old woman that got shot and killed by an ICE officer was in Minneapolis. She is from Missouri and has Missouri plates. Now, mind you, she could have lived in Minneapolis and just moved back and didn't get the plates changed. But the point being, let's just say she's not living there. Do you know how far Minneapolis is from Missouri? Okay, there's a whole state in between it called Iowa. That's a long ride. Well, I don't know where she came from in Missouri, but she went all the way through the state of Iowa, all the way up to Minneapolis. And let me tell you something. You are closer to Canada in Minneapolis than you are in Missouri. So she drove a long way just to complain, just to cause trouble in a place she had no real business being in. Do I say she deserved to die? No. But she's just like me, driving around with expired plates. You're going to mess around and you're going to find out. Let's go into the past. Short few years ago, Ashley Babbitt loses her life in the January 6th thing. There were people helping her up, people pushing her up through a window. She was a little tiny thing. And when her head got to a certain spot, the guy shot her. Dropped her, shot her in the face. Where was the huge outcry over that? Sure didn't come from the lefts. They say she deserved it. They say she deserved it. She was trespassing. She deserved it. Did she deserve it? Probably not. Did the woman in Minneapolis deserve it? Probably not. But the difference is, here's the problem. Both of them were messing around in places they shouldn't have been. When I was a teenager, my friends and I, we used to throw snowballs at cars and run like hell because you didn't want to pay the consequences, right? These people go to the place where they're going to pay consequences. Think about this. They're not running from it. They're going to it. How stupid are you? And I'm going to say this about Ashley Babbitt, too. That was a stupid move on her part. She was not thinking, right, by going in there and ended up in that situation. And this woman, same thing, maybe even worse. Now, in case you didn't know, the officer that plugged her, he was hit by somebody trying to do this to him in the past. And he ended up in the hospital, and he ended up with getting 30 stitches in a leg or somewhere. So he's familiar with with people using vehicles as weapons. Now, I watched the video multiple times. One can make an argument that he could have probably jumped out of the way, but if you've been run over once before and you're highly trained, and let me tell you something, this guy only left out 3 shots, and he took care of the business. He didn't empty the clip. And law enforcement, I don't care if they carry a weapon, they are trained to use it. Trust me, my wife is in law enforcement. She knows how to use a weapon, and she will tell you that you're trained to neutralize the target. And when they're trained, the adrenaline takes over, and they just lay on that trigger, and it's pop, 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 pop. This guy only did, that how they usually complain, well, why didn't you just shoot him in the knee? You know how the leftists do? Did you need to shoot him 60 times? No, this guy shot 3 times, took care of the issue. I'm not making fun of it, but you see the hypocrisy where I'm going with this. The problem is, you have people. Now, I'll try to leave it at this. When Trump took Maduro, he took him at 2 o'clock in the morning, Central Time. I think on a Sunday, right? Now, pay attention. 2 o'clock in the morning, normal people are sleeping, Central Time. People are sleeping. By the time 7, 8 o'clock rolls around in the morning, there are professionally printed posters, protest signs, immaculate. These aren't drawn in your kitchen with a magic marker. And they're printed, and there's people carrying them everywhere from New York to Chicago to El Paso to LA in that short period of time. Now, how does that happen? Is that organic? Hell no, it's not organic. So somebody somewhere has got an organization with lots of resources that is waiting for stuff like this to happen, and they're monitoring everything. And the moment something breaks, they get the printing press going. They got the money out, they got the resources, and they got stuff being printed out and distributed cross country. And then there's some type of network that starts calling people in the middle of the night to get them out. Think about this. Has anybody ever called you and said, hey, we need you in downtown Minneapolis? So I'm going to drive up from 3 states away and get the hell up there and give it a go. Do you see that there's something going on here? There's something going on here. Now, I don't know if anybody's paying attention. I have said this before. I think we're already at the beginning of a second American Civil War. I really do believe that, without a shadow of a doubt. The tactics these people are using are communist tactics. There's Bolsheviks. There's some underground organization with lots of money trying to stir the pot of civil unrest. And I want you to think about this. One thing Bolsheviks like to do is they like to take words, they make new words up and take existing words and change the definitions of them. So this woman that gets shot, she's called a legal observer. What the hell is a legal observer? Have you ever heard that term before? I'm 61. I never heard that term till yesterday. Legal observer. What does that mean? Do I go take a class, take some courses, get accredited, and get an ID? Do I get a certificate? You are now officially a legal observer. Do I go to a court of law and say I am an official legal observer? Where did this come from? Who made this up? And it's now part of the narrative because it's out there all over. If you haven't heard it by now, I don't know what to tell you. But who came up with this? Who in some little dark office or dark basement table group of people came up with this term and threw it out there, and all of a sudden it's pushed and it's on the media, it's everywhere. Who made this term up? What is it? Legal observer. Well, who did? This woman was a legal observer. I guess Ashley Babbitt was too. She must have been a legal observer too. They try to legitimize these things. So this woman comes from 3 states away to be a legal observer, and then acts a fool with police officers. Acts a fool. So here's the thing. There's something definitely going on in our nation. It's not good. I don't think things will get ever better. They're going to escalate. It's going to intensify unless you get rid of these people that are running below the radar with the resources to cause dissension and trouble and all this nonsense that you see. And I heard somebody recently say this. I thought it was brilliant. Said the most dangerous man on earth is a man who just wants to be left alone. I'm one of those men. I just want to be left alone to do my stuff, to live my life. I want to live a peaceful, uneventful life. I don't go running into this stuff because I know better. I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to go and cause some rabble-rousing nonsense and stuff that isn't my business. Let these officers do their job. Do you think, as an American citizen, that you could go into another country and set up shop in there as an illegal? I don't care what country it is. Let's say it's Bangladesh. You're just going to cross the border and you're going to start living there illegally and take all the resources from their social systems to support yourself there as an illegal. How long do you think it'll take them to throw you out? But for some reason, the United States of America should open the borders and let everybody flood in, and it's okay, and nobody should do anything about it. That is Bolshevik tactics. This stuff is done on purpose to undermine the United States and destroy us as a nation and make it into something that you and I didn't grow up with. And if you value your children, your children's children, and your children's children's children, you're not going to put up with it. You're not going to put up with this stuff. If you are one of these guys that wants to be left alone, they're going to push it to the point where you're going to say, I'm ready. Because it doesn't matter what happens to me anymore. Doesn't matter. You have disturbed my peace to the point of no return, and it's over. I'm up, I'm out, and I'm ready. Just hang on to that. I don't know how many men will be watching this and thinking this. Because, I still have the strength to subdue some of these 20-year-olds that I got walking around here. They're pathetic. But I just want to be left alone. But if I get to that point, and if it gets to that point where I feel it's over, there's going to be problems. And I'm not the only one. Just saying. So, having said all these things, let law enforcement do what law enforcement do. Don't get involved with their stuff. Stay the heck out of the way. Don't be stupid. Don't mess around. Don't drive cars in front of them. Don't go over there hanging out there going, ooh, you calling them words, calling them names. You don't value your time? Is this what you're doing? And they're performing a job in a community, whether you don't like it or not? Go, yeah, you want to go protest? Fine, go protest. But don't be a fool about it. You're going to get in your car and act tough. Pretend you're Rambo. That's so stupid. You know, I'm sorry they lost their lives. They're the people that are dead. Ashley Babbitt and the other one, whatever her name is. They don't have a say in anything anymore. But their family's going to suffer for the rest of their life for their decisions. Their family's going to suffer. And I'm not going to blame this officer. You know, how many of us, if we were faced with a situation like that, and they think we're getting run over, and you're just going to neutralize this, you're going to neutralize the threat? And I know what my wife would do. Good grief. Gosh, I know what she would do. Just saying, it's something to think about. Mind your own business. Stay home. Play with your kids. Do what you do. Let them deal with that stuff. But when it gets to the point where you feel like you're not being left alone, then we're going to have problems. And it's coming. Because these Bolsheviks are not going to stop. And unless the government gets this whole underground stuff taken care of, it's just going to get worse and worse. And your children are going to have a miserable, horrible future. I'm telling you. So, till next time.